Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Friday Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Carwanity, your government contract strategist, excited to share today the number one reason why most small businesses will never hit that $1 million dream that they inspire to have. They're inspired to have. And so, as you can see, I'm in a new space. I am actually in NYC, New York, out here with the family. We'll be back on the West Coast very, very soon. But I want to bring you greetings from all the way from New York, New Jersey, been to Times Square, all those things. This is an amazing place to be. So anyway, it's a beautiful day outside. Not today. I just really want to have a heart to heart. Hi, Tamika. Hi, Desiree and Priscilla and David. Hello for the you are that are joining. Hey, Cameron. And for those of you who maybe actually going to watch the replay a little bit later. So today, if it's okay with you, I just want to have some transparency and really just go straight to the heart, like simply because I talk to and excuse the internet if it's a little choppy. I'll come back on, don't worry about that. But I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, especially small business owners, like across the whole United States. And one of the most common things that I find is true is that most small business entrepreneurs have never even generated $1 million in their business. And that, $1 million is nothing once you understand how to do it, right? But it's a stretch if you're new in business or if you've never done that before, right? But here's the thing, even more so, most have never even hit six figures in their business, which is a lot more attainable, right? Even you can do that even if you don't have really a solid strategy, but you can do it faster if you do have a solid strategy and you understand what you're doing in business. And so today, this is just some of the things that I want to talk about, what I'm currently seeing as the trend, what small business owners are having in common when they're not hitting these particular milestones in their business, so that we can just start putting some things in place and understanding that it really all starts in here. It all starts in the mind, right? So if that's okay with you, let me know. Type "it's okay" in the chat, because I just want to know. Like, y'all know, I like to keep it real. I'm all about empowering entrepreneurs and showing you exactly how to get out of your own way so that you can get the desired results that you want to get. And so, for those of you who are just joining, I am Carwanity. I'm a government contract strategist, the founder of She's Got Goals LLC. I help entrepreneurs, and particularly women and minority-owned business owners, how to grow their business with government contracts, right? Because of course, if you've been following me for a while, you know that the government is the largest purchaser of business products and services in the world, and they actually buy from small business owners. And guess what? One good contract could replace 500 or more of the individual clients that you may currently be chasing right now, right? So, how about we put things in position to where we're working smarter and not harder, right? So, government contracting is the one of the best and the smartest and most strategic things you can do in business to hit those milestones. But today, I just want to kind of go a little bit more behind the scenes and talk about some of the hurdles that I'm seeing that are holding people back from actually hitting that milestone of at least making your first six figures in business. All right, so and let me see, which is attainable. So if we have any six figure earners that are basically on today, let us know in the chat. I'm a six figure earner, right? If you're a $1 million business owner already, you're already making millions, type in the chat, I'm in the M game, right? Because even with that, we can show you, like, some of the strategies that we help is showing you how to multiply that, right? To multiply the six figures and to multiply the millions, right? By doing business with the number one largest purchaser of products and services in the world. So please pay attention to her, guys. David Matthews. I have an ambassador right there. Yes. David, thank you so much. Um, so absolutely. So here's the thing, right? If you have And I don't want to say anybody in particular, right? So and I want to have a disclaimer because I'm going to keep it real. Because if this is something that you really want, sometimes the things that a coach is going to say is going to help. It's going to make you a little uncomfortable, and it may just kind of poke you a little bit. But guess what? It's sometimes it's the truth, and it is something that you absolutely need to hear to get out of your current situation so that you can actually grow. And so one of the things, and one of the main things is when you truly want those numbers to actually work for you, right? You have to be willing to stop doing what you're doing that's not working. Because we are exactly where we are specifically because of what we've been doing over the past 5 years. So if you're not comfortable with where you are, or if you're not happy with the results you've gotten, to do something different, right? And as much as like we like to do the same stuff all the time, the same stuff is not attracting the multiple six figures or the six figures or even the millions of dollars that you desire, right? So it's time to shift. Somebody put shift in the in the chat. When you agree, it's just time to shift just a little bit, so that we can actually go ahead and hit those numbers, right? So when you truly want those numbers to work for you, here's the main thing: you have to be willing to do whatever it is that you need to do to put money on the table. And what I mean by that, when you hear that in order to grow, you have to invest in your business, coaches, like all the coaches that have hit millions of dollars, all the coaches that have hit multiple six figures, like they know what they're talking about. But sometimes when we're on the other end, because I've been on the other end, as an entrepreneur who aspired to hit those numbers, and to me that sounded like I need to have some money, right? And it may sound like that to you if that's where you are. Thank you, Priscilla, for putting shift putting shift in the chat. And it may sound like that, but right, but guess what? Money is currency. Money is nothing more than it's energy, and it's also currency. And if you know anything about rivers and currency, currency does what? It flows, which means you have to allow the money to move. A lot of times we're holding on to the little and our hands are closed, so we cannot receive the much. We cannot even receive the overflow that is due us, right? Because we're holding on and stopping the currency from flowing. So in order to attract, like if money is everything and money is energy, we have to learn how to position ourselves so that we can attract the overflow and the abundance, which means you have to spend a little to get a lot, right? We have to spend a little to get a lot. And I'm going to go into some more detail by what I mean by that. So let's just say, for instance, if your desire is to make $1 million this year, or you can do it in a 12 or to 24-month period, if that is your goal, wouldn't it be fair for you to at least decide that I'm going to bring something to the table? And that something could be 10%. Hello, somebody. 10% ties in your offering, right? 10%. So if you, let's just say your goal is $1 million, and if you at least decided that, okay, I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to come up with the 10%, which is 100,000, right, to get the million. How many of you would say 100,000 is too much to get the million? Most small business owners are thinking that way because they don't understand the one thing that is important that you should be looking at, which is the bigger picture, is the ROI. That stands for return on investment. Now, if you bring $100,000 to the table so that you can learn something, a strategy that's going to get you your first million, and a strategy that you can repeat to repeat those millions, right? Now, we're talking about the first time around a 9,990% return on investment. That's smart, right? You cannot even get a 9,990% return on your investment when you put your money in a bank account, right? So let's just say you decide that 10% is a little too much. How about 5%? Well, 5% towards your goal, right? To achieve and to make, thank you, $1 million is only 50,000. So if I was to tell you, I have $1 million in this envelope, I'm going to give it to you, but it's going to cost you It's going to cost you $50,000 for that $1,000,000. What are you going to do? What would you do? Like, really, let me know in the chat. What would you do? Right? Because that's realistically what this is. Like, you have to bring something to the table. Nothing in life is free. Absolutely. You're either going to pay time or money. Time or money. Some people are spending a whole lot of time thinking they can do things on their own and hoping that one day they'll hit that million. But guess what? One day you may be 90 years old and you still haven't achieved that. And so you have to know it's either going to cost you time or money or a little bit of both, right? Smart people would rather have their time and put a little bit of money up to make a whole lot of money. So the ROI we're talking about. Olu said I would get it done. Absolutely. So um let me see. Let me pull this down. So 50,000. So let's just say 5% is $50,000, right? So we're talking numbers today because I really want, I'm gonna help somebody, right? There's gonna be some people that are like, oh, they, got to spend money to make money. I'm just gonna go figure it out on my own, or whatever, right? And that's fine, right? But there's gonna be someone that this information is gonna help out of all of the content that I share, out of all of the trainings that I do. I'm most excited about this information today because I did not become in the M game. I'm just going to call it the M game. I didn't even get into the M game until I understood this. And so anyone that's helping you do anything and they say it's going to cost you free, right? You better run from them. Like seriously, they say you gonna do it for free. You better run from them. So I'm gonna give you the truth. I didn't get to the M game without sacrifice and without putting some things on the table and without bringing my 10%, my 5%, or whatever it is that I felt I needed to bring to the table to get into the M game, right? And so 5% of $1,000,000 is $50,000. So if I had an envelope full of $1,000,000, and I say it's going to cost you $50,000 for every $1,000,000 envelope, how many of those envelopes would you want? As many, of course, as you can afford, or as you can. And even if you can't afford it, most people don't have $50,000 laying around somewhere, right? But if that $1,000,000 was in an envelope, here's $1,000,000 envelope, and I said it's going to cost you $50,000. And here you can have as many as you want, and you decide, well, I don't have $50,000. Here's the person that gets the breakthrough. I don't have $50,000, but guess what? I'm going to figure out by any means necessary whatever it is I need to do to get it. So you're going to think about what's on your credit card, what can you sell, what can you rent out, how many dinner sales you can make, who owes you money. That's when you know that you really, 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 really want it, right? So over the past few years, I have been putting multiple $1,000,000 envelopes in front of people. And the broke mentality, and I can talk about it because I once had the broke mentality. The broke mentality is the person that says, I don't have, they make decisions based off their current circumstance. You cannot make a decision, a $1,000,000 decision, right? Based off your current circumstance, because currently you're not attracting the millions of dollars that you desire, right? You cannot make $1,000,000 or a multiple $1,000,000 or even a six-figure decision based off your current circumstance. So if your pockets are empty, you have to figure out a way to make it happen, because guess what? People buy what they want to buy. And here's exactly what I mean by that. Every year, we all know, especially grown folk by now, that Easter is not a real holiday, right? Christmas is not about shopping and spending. Thanksgiving, of course, is about gathering, but how much money do we spend on birthdays and all these holidays? Like we spend thousands upon thousands of dollars, especially around Christmas, right? So around Christmas, we spend five, seven, even $10,000 or more on gifts and things of that nature that people are going to open one day, be excited about, and you never see it again, right? How many parents, how many of you have kids, and you're like, I'm buying the cars, I'm buying this, I'm buying the shoes, I'm buying it, and but before you know it, you've been to spend a few $1,000s every single year, and we all know that you didn't even have the money, but you made a way to make it happen, right? I'm guilty of that. I know. So this is the reason why I say people have the money, they buy what they want to buy, even if they don't have it physically. They make sense of what makes sense to them, right? But we buy debt, we buy liabilities, and guess what? There are even people I'm one of them who did this, right? Who would rather go and get a $200,000 education, right? Student loans and stuff like that. You have to pay back for the rest of your life, and get a job in a whole nother field and never even make that money back to pay off your student loans. Almost 99% of the United States US population have done this, and they're guilty of this. This is the reason why they're trying to push for student loans forgiveness right now, right? But yet, that's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee how much money you're gonna make, or if you're gonna land your dream job, or if that job is gonna pay you enough to be able to pay off those loans and yet sustain your life, right? But yet, there's opportunities out here where there's trillions. Hear me when I say, we're talking about the T word, trillions of dollars on the table, and people don't even want to pay 5% to access that for the first time, where they're going to get a 990,000% return on their investment. Something is wrong. Everything that we've been taught about making money in abundance is completely wrong. So here's some things that I want to share. And the scripture says, right? And I talk about scripture because scripture has principles, right? And those principles can apply to your personal life, your financial life, to your marriage, and all those things, right? So principle has no prejudice. It doesn't matter if you're using it in religion, or if you're using it in business, or if you're using it in your personal relationships, right? Principle is a principle. It is what it is, and it is what it does, right? And so the scripture says, give and it shall be given to you, what? Pressed down, shaken together, and running over, which means that you have to give to receive, right? You have to bring something to the table so that you can receive, right? And the pressed down, shaken together, running over thing is so very true. So if you're pressed down, shaken together, running over looks like $20, that's because you're bringing quarters to the game, right? So you cannot expect to make millions of dollars and think that you're going to bring $100 to the table to get that, to receive that. Yeah, if you bring $100 to the table, you're pressed down, shaken together, and running over may end up being like $300 or $400, right? That's the game that you're in. So when they say a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, that's scripture. That's a principle. So we have to believe what we speak about. So we can't talk about millions. We can't talk about multiple six figures if we're playing with $50, $100, $200. You have to be willing to go out of your way, use other people's money. Like, credit is king. Even if you have bad credit, guess what? You can fix that. It only takes like 6 to 9 months to fix that, to get to the 700, 800 credit score. And now you have unlimited access to credit cards so that you can access the money and the capital to bring your 10%, your 5% to the table to reach your $100,000 or six-figure dream, or your multi-million dollar dream. That is the real. This is the realest of the realest of the realest that I've ever been. And I'm saying this because I know I've been in I've been on the other side. I didn't understand the principle of giving and releasing in order to attract abundance and to receive, right? In order to grow and to get in the M game and to become a M player, right? A multiple M player. I didn't understand that. And so today I just wanted to spend a little bit of time of why so many, like out of 10, maybe 9 out of every 10 small business entrepreneur that I personally talk to have never even made $1 million in their business. Even if you've been in business for 5 years and have never hit that, right? Or even if you've been in business for 2 years and have never figured out how to make six figures. And what I've come to learn is that when we release and let go, right? When you release and let go and do the work, because faith without works is absolutely dead. It's true. You have to be willing to have faith, right? Of a mustard seed, and believe that when you bring your 5%, your 50%, or your whatever it is, 10% that you want to bring to the table, that is going to be pressed down, shaken together, and running over, and continue to run over and over and over and over again, right? You have to believe that, right? And act out of faith. You can't just bring it to the table and do nothing, because this is not a game of magic. This is a game of invest and do. Whenever you do the work, everything else falls into place, right? So here we have, can you drop the scripture for the double-minded man? I like it, but never. Oh, you have it? A double. I'll drop that scripture for you. A double-minded man. I'm gonna tell you exactly where you can find that in the Bible. James 1:8, King James version. James 1:8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Right. So and I've shared this story before. Right. And here's how the double-minded thing played a part in my life. When I was married to my ex-husband, we used to talk about we have these big home dreams. We have these dreams of becoming homeowners, right? But yet we spent frivolously, never saved a penny, credit was jacked up, didn't pay our bills. Like, so what we were doing and saying were all opposite sides of the coin, right? You're double-minded, you're speaking, you're doing against what you speak, right? So there's no way you could ever become a homeowner when you do the opposite, right? So this is what I mean. So when you want to become a six-figure earner or a millionaire or whatever, right? You got to get through the sixes to get to the M's. Got to go through six to get to sevens, right? And so when you begin to build that as your legacy and something that you want to accomplish, you got to change and become the person that you want to become, right? You got to live now the way that you want to be 5 years from now, right? That's the only way to shift and change, is to put those things in place in that belief system, okay? So if you want to have the press down, shaking together, running it over, I mean, there's a significance in the number 10, the 10%, right? So guess what? In our program, I'm gonna tell you, for to teach you how to earn your first million, it's not even 10% that you bring to the table. In fact, it's much less than that. It's not even 50% that you bring it to the table, right? But it's gonna be shaken down, pressed down, shaken together, and run it over, right? Hence, um, Gloria Miller Epps, who landed her first contract, pressed down, shaken together, and running over of $250,000 after spending years in business making zero, not understanding that the government has your money. They got money out here for small businesses. So if you've never hit six figures in business, got to go through the six to get to the seven. Shame on you if you understand that the government is a customer and they're waiting for small business owners. They're waiting with the check in hand, waiting to sign on the dotted line for small business owners, right? They have your money. Why don't you go get it? That's the easiest customer that you don't have to have to chase. They're already waiting with check in hand, and they want to buy what you're selling. Okay, the government buys everything. What are they buying? Well, what are you selling? If you sell beauty services, they buy that. If you sell fitness, they buy that. If you sell underwear, they buy that. If you sell shoes and earrings, they buy that. If you're selling um, communication services, they sell that. If you sell cleaning services, they buy that. If you sell cars and car washing services, they buy that. If you sell public relations, they buy that. If you're a copywriter, they buy that. Literally, the government buys everything. And I can say that till I'm blue in the face. And people will still ask the question, do the government buy my stuff? You sell it to a person. You can sell it to the government. The government is made up of a building, multiple buildings of people. That's what the government is. It's a body of people, right? People use soap. They wash, they shower. At least I hope they do, right? They use all of these things. So if you sell it, you can sell to the government, which is again the number one largest purchaser of business products and services in the world, right? So if this is your dream, I want you to know, and you could borrow my belief system if you don't believe in yourself, right? That this is something that does not have to be a dream anymore. You can make it a reality, but you gotta be willing to bring your 10% to the table, right? You have to be willing to at least bring your 5% to the table so that you can eat, right? And understand, take your eyes off the little, because little becomes much. Oh, that's another scripture, right? Take your eye, you have to take your eyes off the little and see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is what? The ROAS, the return on your money, the ROI, return on your investment, right? If your return on investment could be bigger, like we put money in bank accounts. If you put let's just say you put $50,000 in a bank account, a year from now, your $50,000 will come back $50,000 and 2 cents, right? Let's just say. And this is a realistic hypothetical example. You put that same $50,000 and bet on you in your business, and you do the work, your $50,000 will turn into 250,000, and then 500,000, and then a million, and then multiple millions. Leaps and bounds, right? But yet the way that we've been programmed to think small and to act small and to not believe in ourselves and all those different things that keeps us back. This is the number one reason most small business owners will never hit that six figures, let alone never hit that $1 million. It's because of the mentality. It's what's between here, right? This is the reason why I encourage people to read books. You have to read. People have dropped nuggets and dimes in the libraries, in the books. Like the people that we're talking about, like the Rockefellers and all these big names that we talk about, like they're way up here. This is the stuff that they've done. All they've done was do things strategically. All they've done was think about how they're going to create wealth and actually bet on themselves. They brought things to the table to create that wealth. You can't bring nothing to the table and expect to create wealth. It does not happen until you move out of your way. Hence, case in fact, I personally used to be on the other side. I didn't want to bring much to the table. I wanted to be in $1 million game, bringing hundreds of dollars to the table. It did not work. And after years of over a decade of thinking as a double-minded man, right? Thinking that was going to eventually get me to where I wanted to go, I realized that it was not. So I was willing to go out of my way, even though I did not have the money to invest in my business at the time. I figured out how to fix my credit so I can leverage credit cards to get access to capital and become my own bank. I figured out who owed me money, how to get access to that. I figured out the stories that I have within me was worth value. So I created books and sold those in order to bring money to the table to invest in my business. And so we cannot make decisions based off our current circumstance, right? Now, because if you're making decisions off your current circumstances now, then that's where you're going to be tomorrow. You have to make a decision based off your circumstance of where you see yourself in the future. So the question is, where do you see yourself? And for all of those who watch me, most of the people who follow me are faith-based as well, right? They're Christians, they're people who believe in God or believe in a higher power, right? And we claim to be children of God. Well, my father is rich in houses and land. He holds the world in the palm of his hands, rubies and diamonds, silver and gold. Tell him I'm a child of God. That is, of course, all those things that those childhood, biblical songs and all that stuff, that's some real stuff. So we really believe that. If we believe ask and you shall receive, if we really believe that, we have to act on that. That means that you're a royal priesthood. That means abundance is your birthright. That means that $1 million business is your birthright, right? So we have to get out of our own way, right? And kick old thinking so that we can shift into the new space of becoming the six-figure earner, the multiple six-figure earner, and eventually, ultimately, the $1 million earner. And once you get there, you will see that it was so easy. Trust me. And here's what I learned. This is the honest to God truth of what I've learned. After all the things that I just shared with you, it took me a long time to transform my mindset, to become that person, right? That attracts the millions. It took me a long time to get there, but I got there. And so for you, for if you've never gotten there before, I share my story. I share my journey because you can get there faster when you learn from someone else. That's the reason why people have coaching programs, right? To help you get there faster. So it doesn't take you that long. You can just learn from somebody, implement, execute, and get results in record time, right? So for example, like Gloria, who landed her first $250,000 contract in 9 months. Well, when I was starting my business, I didn't 9 months. It took me a long, like years to get to even $250,000, like years. But my experience, I get to lend my experience to other people so that they can get these results in record time by not making all those same mistakes. Yes, I do notary services and fingerprinting services. Yeah. Do notary. Okay, so do government contracts? Yeah, for notary. Yeah, fingerprinting. Yes, Priscilla. Yes, they do. So they do everything. Dispatching, absolutely. Tamika, transportation. I mean, yes, Olu, absolutely a transportation. How many millionaires have you made through so far? I could just say I coach millions of people, and there's a lot of millionaires that have learned from me and are out there making money, right? So I would say, are you a millionaire yet? And if not, what is your plan to become for you to become a millionaire, right? Do you have a plan for that? Let me see, whatever it takes to get it done, change of mind. Yeah, you got to whatever it takes to get it done. And so what I was saying was, like, I didn't have the money. I didn't have the money to invest in my business. But guess what? I leveraged all of those. I figured out a way to come up with it because it was very necessary, because I was so very tired of watching other people have success. I was so very tired of listening to stories by the Rockefeller and all those different things. And I began to read the books like Think and Grow Rich, because it all starts with a thought. Like, what do you think about yourself? Like, you got to think it, believe it, act on it, and all those different things. And if you're not willing to bet on you, how can you expect anybody else to bet on you? If you're not even willing to trust yourself enough that you'll do the work and get the result, that you won't even bet on you. Your result is not going to be based off what somebody else has done. Your result is going to be based off what you do, specifically you, right? Right. So even if there was 100% of the people that I taught specifically a specific strategy, right? The same exact strategy, at least one of them is not gonna do the work, and they're not gonna get the results. So your success is going to be based off, will you do the work, right? And so once I understood that, I knew for me that I was going to do the work. So I had to come up with the money, and I did it by any means necessary, right? By any means necessary. I came up with the money because, again, people buy what they want. And that first time investment, the 10% that I brought to the table, got me into the M game. The 10% that I didn't have. But guess what? If I would have said I didn't have it, I'm gonna just sit here and wait, or I'm gonna just sit here and save it up, or I'm gonna just sit here and say, woe is me, right? It's never gonna happen, or I'm just gonna go the long route and figure out how I can do it the long way, right? It wouldn't have never happened. I got into the M game because I bet on me. I made the ultimate sacrifice, right? I did something, like Les Brown says, you got to be willing to do what others won't do in order to have what others won't have, right? The 1%ers are doing things that the 99%ers won't do. They're betting on them. They're bringing money to the table. They're making the ultimate sacrifice. They're doing the work. They're staying up late. Like those ultimate sacrifice, most people will never do that, which is the reason why most small business owners have not hit that six figures and have not hit $1 million in their business. And it does not take that long to do it. Like I said, what I found is that it's easier to make six figures in a day. When you have a strategy, listen to what I'm saying. It's easier to make six figures in a day than it is to make six figures in a year. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've done that. And I'm showing other people how exactly to do that. It's easier to make six figures in a day than it is to make six figures in a year. Take it from someone that knows it. And so the main thing is, like, if we can help more entrepreneurs shift their mindset and their belief system of where they are to becoming the person that makes the six figures, to becoming the person that makes the millions of dollars, then of course we're creating even more legacy and impact across the United States, globally, right? In the small business community. Outer Oak Express Worldwide, hello. You're welcome. Let's see. So that's it. I mean, that's it. That's it for me. So I just wanted to share that, and hopefully this is resonated with at least one of you, that you be ready and willing to bring your 10%, your 5% to the table. We're not talking about pennies. We're talking about bringing some real money to the table. It has to, you have to feel that thing. Because if you don't feel that thing, guess what? I have invested a lot of small dollars into a whole bunch of courses that's been sitting on the shelf, and I've never done anything because guess what? It wasn't a big enough sacrifice for me to feel that thing to say, oh, I've made this sacrifice, so let me do the work, right? So you got to be willing to feel that thing, that type of thing, right? And the other thing out of all of those courses and stuff, and like where I was and all those things, when I was there, when I was small minded, thinking small minded, and trying to get in this big arena, right? Um, I mean, it was so bad for me, and maybe many of you have experienced this before, but years ago, like I would be so broke that I would drive up to the gas station and didn't have a dime, not even a dollar to put in the gas tank. So I'm looking for coins so I don't run out of gas before I get down the street, right? If you've never been there before, like I'm just saying, if you've never been there before, because sometimes it's those things that makes us hungry enough, right, to want to be in the 1%. And that's one of the things that helped me to become the, you know, to want to be in the 1%, or the top 10%, right, of wealth earners in the world, right? And so yeah, yeah, I've been there. This is the reason why I can talk about it. This is the reason why I'm so passionate about sharing. And I literally see people who self-sabotage themselves, like, you know, you're making a right now decision based off where you are right now, right? Don't you see this faith, the money that's there? I mean, it's literally, if an armored truck drove down your street and bags of money fell out, let's just keep it real. Are you gonna say, well, I'm in this traffic, so I'm just gonna wait until the light change? Or you gonna park that car, get out and run? Right? I'm gonna park the car, get out and run and scoop up some of them bags, right? As many as I possibly could. But anyway, we have these six-figure envelopes, right? You have to bring your 10% to the table so that you can get your ROI over and over and over and over again. It just makes more sense to, when you understand how money really works. The bank account ain't gonna do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. And so that's what I wanted to share. We do have a team. Otterac says, yes, me too. I'm approved for you're the best. Hello, good afternoon. Medical apparel. Yes, medical apparel. Tanisha, yes. There's definitely there's contracts for medical apparel, for uniforms, all different types of things. And so what I do is I help walk you through specifically the exact same steps, to getting government contracts that I take, that my clients are taking. I walk you through the exact same steps. Even if you're a newbie, even if you're just starting, even if you know nothing, or even if you think you know everything but never gotten any results, we walk you through step by step. You have me as your personal coach. And so right now we do have a team that is waiting for you all. Like, we're waiting to onboard you, right? You have a team that is waiting to onboard you to change your life. This is what we're building legacies, and we're building legacies across all 50 states in the US, right? For women owned and minority owned businesses, because who needs it more than us? We need this more than anybody else, right? Any other types of business owners and entrepreneurs. Women owned and minority owned business owners need this most, right? And so there's contracts, there's money out there for you. We want to help you get it. Go ahead and book your call, apply to book your call, your strategy session with my team, and we'll show you exactly how we can help you hit that first six figures in the next 6 to 12 months. Boom. And then from there, the return on your investment is going to repeat over and over and over and over again, as long as you continue to repeat the work. Okay. So $1,000,000governmentcontracts.com is where you would go. I have the link right here, $1,000,000governmentcontracts.com. I can't wait to work with some of you that are listening to the, under the sound of my voice, and you're ready to get out of your own way. Stop playing with pennies in this big arena, and let's really go to work and make it happen for you. Now, I would also say that we have gone above and beyond, ourselves, what most people would do to make sure that we can help you access resources, access capital, figure out a way to make it work so that there's no excuse for you to bring your percentage to the table, so that we can show you how to multiply that so that it can be pressed down, shaken together, and running over abundantly for you, yourself, and generations to come. All right, so go ahead and book your call at $1 trillion-governmentcontracts.com, and we will see you on the M side, the money game, the million side. Okay. All right. Holla. Have a good one, you guys. I'll see you next week.